like it so much. I've heard about it, I know about it. So inshallah. But it's something. It's something. I just get into this line of human contact.
Loads of them. I know the majority of the people that are like representing.
Call me, actually. Well, I'll answer. I'll fill you in. Because, you know, I'm trying to make the most of it.
Do you want to be here so that I'll see how? Okay, so that I'll be on your side. Yeah, I'll be on your side. All right, we're gonna share one camera.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. I just want to touch on what we discussed last time.
Yeah.
Understand? The last time I was trying to say something to you and Hamza that, but what I was trying to explain is the God that we follow is different from the God that you follow.
Yeah.
But Muslims seems to believe that we have the same God.
Yeah.
So and I said with
Well, some Muslims, I do believe that. Hamza don't.
Hamza don't.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, do you get it?
Yeah.
So that's even interesting. I didn't know that. It would have been nice for you to be here. Because the thing is this, if
But
it's
I was
not
Christian before, so I have a bit of a
okay, is that the reason why you know?
baggage, yeah.
Okay, because the thing is this, if
Do you have a shingle?
yeah, I do. If it's different, then there's no reason for anyone to be Muslim. If you believe that it's different,
Well,
if you believe,
because some people are idol worshippers, some people worship
do you get it?
objects, but then
Yeah.
Muslims would still want them to be Muslim.
Yeah, I get it. But what I'm trying to say is this: as a Muslim, the only reason why most Muslims believe in Islam is because they believe that they are worshiping the God of Israel,
Yeah.
Moses.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
So if anyone can differentiate that, oh, this one is different, Allah is different from that, then you shouldn't be a Muslim.
I think they say specifically when it comes to the doctrine of the Trinity, they're like, it's a bit like, well, you guys believe in some different type of God.
Yes.
But I think what it is what you were saying about interpretation.
Interpretation. Do
Yeah,
you get it?
that's more correct, I believe.
Yeah. But the thing is this, yeah. So aside from the interpretation, we believe that we're not interpreting it differently. We believe that Allah is different.
Oh yeah.
Then our
He's
God
like
is
a
different. foreign God.
Yeah.
Do you get? That's
Yeah.
what we believe.
Yeah.
Then the thing is, you know, when you ask any Muslim, what does it mean to be a Muslim? They say they submit. But the honest truth is this: I've not seen majority of Muslims, because in order for you to submit, how do you submit? You have to submit with your mouth, your deeds, your behavior, things like that, and in your heart as well.
Yeah.
You cannot just say you submit, then in your heart, do you get it? So, but when it comes to Muslim, for example, if you ask Muslim, do you believe there's a mistake in Quran?
Mystic.
Yeah, there's a mistake. They'll say no, there's no mistake in the Quran. Do you get it? Then if you show them something that we believe this is a mistake, then which I believe that...
Or mistake.
Mistake, yeah. Which I expect someone to be honest and say, oh, you're right, this is a mistake. But instead of them to say, oh, this is a mistake, then they'll try to lie.
But you know the problem is for Muslim.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to. I mean, if you say there's a mistake on the Quran,
Yes.
it borders on like disbelief.
Okay.
So this is why Muslims can never say there's a mistake.
But that's not the thing, yeah? When it comes to God, you cannot lie for God.
Yeah.
Do you
But
get
if you believe the Quran is from God,
Yeah.
and God says there aren't any mistakes in this, or there aren't many contradictions in
He
this.
said if it's not from God,
Yeah, you
then
find
so
many.
that's it.
Yeah.
So imagine Christians are right, and you get to heaven, and God said, what did Allah say to you? That if you find mistake, but you find mistake, you ignore it.
Contradictions.
It's not.
Yeah,
I would
it's
say
a
mistake.
contradiction.
Yeah, contradiction. Then you ignore it. That Allah even warned you that if it's not from God, you find it. So the thing is, and to be honest, I'm not saying people should leave the religion based on that.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is this, because I see a lot of Dawa people talk about this thing. Imagine the knowledge, a lot of things that is out there that people don't know. I don't think God wants us to know this thing in order for us to believe in Him. There's a lot of things to know. Some people can't even read and write. Do you get it? So I don't think God is trying to make it difficult for us. God just wants us to be honest. If you see something that is not right, say it's not right. If you see something that is good, say that is good. Simple as ABC. Do you get it? So this is not the thing. I like what you said, that because you're a Christian, you have the understanding. That's why you believe that it has to be the same God.
Yeah, it has to be.
It has to be.
That's the reason why. That's the reason why I believe in Islam in the first place, because, in hindsight, I started to believe in Islam more because I was like, well, it seems as if Allah, this is me thinking, right? Allah is the same God that Abraham was talking about.
Exactly.
Because the characteristics, the way he deals with the prophets, the way he deals with the people, the stories are very similar. The core message is very similar. So for me, it was like, this is not rocket science.
Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. But the problem here is this. There's some things that Muhammad says that Jesus Christ came after, before Muhammad. And he already said those things that even Jewish people used to do, they are wrong. Then Muhammad said, no, those things are right. Say, like, for example, we talk about Muta that time. Then we talk about marrying a child bride. I think I didn't have my references that day, but I have everything now. If Jesus Christ, and even in those days, people know that it's not good to hurt a child. Do you get it? Why would God not give us a law that we can marry a child? The same God. It's not possible. Because let me ask you a question. This is the thing. Because if you ask Muslim, you cannot, most Muslim, you will not get straightforward answer. According to Islam, can you marry someone as young as 6 years old and sleep with that person? According to Islam, not according to Saudi, England, or whatever.
I think we discussed this last time about the verse in the Quran in Surah chapter 4, and it was it described. It was talking about the mental state of the mental state is the determinant factor for marriage.
But Quran didn't say that. It was people that said that, like scholars, that they said, okay, this is how it has to be.
But there was a verse in particular that talks about that
for marriage.
It talks about releasing the orphans. What's it called? Money if you keep it, but releasing it at that stage when they're mentally capable of managing it themselves.
But you're talking about money. We're talking about marriage.
No, but in the same verse in Surah An-Nisa, and I quoted this last time to you.
No, we didn't say it.
Because there was two. We were talking about the one. They talked about menstruation, and then we talked about the one in Surah An-Nisa. I'm gonna have to go look for it.
Okay, because it would be nice if you can check that the thing. Because the thing is this: the law says you can marry. If you say you can marry, okay, okay? Probably let me get it this way. Let's do it this way. Is there a difference between 6-year-old during the time of Muhammad and now? When it comes to getting married, what's the difference?
There is a difference between 6-year-olds from now and 100 years. Recently, I saw a video, a shocking video. It was this like 4-year-old kid. He was on a chimney. This is in this country. He was working, and you know what? He was 4 years old. If I see him at the 4 years old, the way you see the videos on social media, 4-year-old when they do stupid things, and the movement of that child that was working, he was 4 years old, but his body, his movement, his demeanor was as if he was a grown man. So this is 100 years ago or 200 years ago, let alone 1,000 years ago. I believe there was a difference, perhaps not fundamentally, as in like fundamentally, they're both still developing. A 6-year-old is different than from now. But I think the way culture around shaped the ideas of what it means to be a child and
exactly.
And
so I get that's exactly what I was trying to say. Culture is different from religion. Do you get it? Because what you're saying is true. Because I've seen a lot of people call Muhammad pedophile. I wouldn't call him pedophile, and I would say the reason why I wouldn't call him pedophile.
Interesting.
The reason is this, because I used to be a Muslim, so I have a bit of understanding. But I would say what he did was wrong, and I will tell you why as a prophet. The reason why I won't call him a pedophile is something that people were doing during his time.
Yeah.
So in order for you to call him a prove it over, it has to be him alone that was doing it.
Yeah.
It has to be him alone that's
Yeah.
thinking, I need to sleep with a child.
Yeah.
But it's something that's common to his people. They don't know better. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
But as a prophet from God, the same God that we are talking about, we know not to touch, not to harm a child.
Yeah.
If it's the same God.
But it really goes back to the conversation we were having about the definition of what a child is.
Okay.
I think this is very difficult.
So this is not the thing, yeah? The definition of what a child is inside a date. It's inside Bible as well. Bible was written like 400 years before.
Yeah.
God, when the children of Israelites, when they were trying to go into the promised land, and they were rebelling, God said, these people from this age, they will not enter the promised land.
Yeah.
But people from 20 years old, because they are innocent,
Yeah.
God considered them 20 downward, innocent. And there's a part when they are giving offering as well. And God said, if you're 6 months, whatever, to this month, this is your offering.
Yeah.
If you're this age to 13, so God knows. Do you get it? We know for thousands of years, age. And the same thing with, Islam as well. There's a battle that they want to go. Muhammad will not allow someone that's 14 years old to go because he said you're too young.
Yeah.
So if they don't know anything about age, the way people develop, because the way they said if you're 6 years old, you're like 18 years old then. Then 14 years old, you'll be like 18 years old. I've read it before. When people say Aisha is 6 years old, oh, she's like 18 years old. Do you get it?
That's ridiculous.
Do you get it? So we know, everybody know. The only thing is,
you're right.
now people sleep with 6-year-olds till now.
Yeah.
Do you get it? So it's not about
Where, like, as in like
in the world, we have people that rape 6-year-olds.
Yeah, it's horrible.
But the thing is this year, the reason why people used to do it then is because they don't know better. Do you get it?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
It's not about the physical body.
Yeah.
It's not about the mental whatever. It's about because it's their culture. They do it.
But I think we have a bias as well, and our bias is sort of like, okay, because we're in a modern world now, because we've progressed so much, we know better now. Therefore, we know better than the people of the past.
Yes.
But I'm like,
we don't know better than Allah. We shouldn't know better than Allah.
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is that it kind of just goes back to the idea that we ascribe in worth and truth to us. Whereas, like, what is the arbitrage of this? Where do we derive this value from? Because there are also stories in the Bible of children. Like, for example, Mary, she was very, to you, maybe 12 years old is old enough.
There's no evidence that Mary was 12 years old.
No, but is that not? It's what the Bible scholars say.
No. But there's no evidence in the Bible that says Mary is 12. People are just saying maybe Mary is 12 or whatever. In the Catholic Bible, I think it was. I think they got it from Catholic something. Yeah. But he never said Mary was 12 years old.
But I'm saying that even just that conversation that it exists.
But
right?
let me not say something to you. Why Mary couldn't have been 12 years old? I will tell you why.
Because you see, and this is not something that I believe personally. Because I haven't looked into this but the story of Aisha is a very interesting one. Yeah. And the story goes that the story of Aisha being 6 is a hadith that appears at a very particular time. Yeah. Okay, so some scholars say that, and there was this very illustrious article I read by an Oxford University student. He looked into this. And I'm sure, I presume that he kind of borrowed it from someone else and he, trying to run it like it's his. But the idea is that the hadith was circulating around the 8th century, 9th century. That's really when this hadith starts to get into circulation. And it's very, and it's not mentioned in the Muwatta of Imam Malik. And he says, surprisingly, that the motivation behind Aisha being so young had to do with politics. Because during, this is after the civil wars that were taking place between Aisha Radha Anha and Ali ibn Talib. What happens is that as time kind of progresses, fractions start to exist, Shia and all these things. Yeah. And one thing that the Shia were, or the people who precede the Shias were trying to do was they went to attach themselves to the household of the Prophet. And when they were doing that, they were doing it for Ali. And they were saying the purity with Ali was as such that he was extremely young when he grew up in the household of the Prophet. Now, they're saying this hadith was ascribed to one man. This one man, he was propagating, he was a pro-Ashiite proponent, and he was defending Aisha. And they're saying he was then in return saying Aisha was this young. Because he is in the chain of this hadith. And some scholars say that's a bit problematic. So there is a debate about this.
Yeah, but
there's a debate about this.
But the thing about the hadith is this. Even if, let's take the hadith aside.
Yeah.
Aisha and Muhammad. But what Quran says that you can marry, you can divorce. And the explanation is the category of those people is too young to menstruate. Yeah. So in order for us to put anyone, it has to be from 1 year old upward. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. Do you get it? Yeah. So even if that story is not true, we know that it's allowed by Allah.
Okay, you know what? Yeah. And this is why I deal with a lot of things. Yeah. I actually, when you mentioned that thing, I looked into it and I had an answer. There was an answer to it. I can't recall it right now. Okay. But there was a technicality behind that. Yeah. And maybe this is a conversation for another time.
Yeah, maybe it is. Yeah. So this is the thing. I get what you're saying. Yeah. Because this is a kind of thing that if you look into it, then you say, my problem is not like if so far people know that Allah is different from God that appears to Moses. Do you get it? Yeah. That's mine. That's the only thing I want people to know. Because if you know that, it's up to you to choose.
But that's the thing. Yeah. The Quran is the thing is this. First of all, if we go further back. So this idea of having no age limit to marriage, I don't. Because it's one thing, if you say, well, this is something that, because look, when Muslims kill people, then the first thing people say is, oh, look, it's in their book. They're just following what is in their book, right?
If it's, not Muslims, it depends. Because they always say, for example, something happened in news, if someone that kills someone is a Muslim, first they will think, is it a terrorist? Yeah. Then later they will say it's mental health, even if the person is Muslim, or it's because of...
I've never ever seen in the millions of years I've been on this earth, I haven't, but that Muslim, and I would love for them to do this, that when there's terrorism, that they talk about mental health.
Not terrorism. I'm saying they will first say, is it related to terrorism?
Oh yeah.
Then if they find out that maybe the person has a mental health, they will say, they'll clarify it.
I agree.
But first, yes, I get it.
I agree.
But first, they will say it. Yeah. But the same thing with, if it's Christian, they might think, oh, is it radical Christian or something? Do you get it?
Well, the point I'm trying to say that if it is the case of terrorism, and it is the case that someone was inspired by the Quran, people are very quickly to say, well, it's in their book. Yeah. But one thing that I know for sure is that if you look at sort of the idea of child marriage or people marrying to very young people, this is something that if you look at the countries who've been promoting against this. They're Western countries, right?
But
Western countries, because you will go to certain regions in Africa.
They still do it there,
where they're not even Muslims, and they do it. So I'm saying that
we know God. That's the problem. You know the difference between us and those people is we claim to know God, and we claim to say, okay, we are the people that do right things. Yeah. Do you get it? So
what does it in the Bible say the age?
Okay, the thing about the Bible is this: Bible didn't put age. But it gives us description on what marriage should be like in Ezekiel. Yeah. So if you look at it, there's nobody that can fit.
Give me the description of marriage.
He's not Muslim. No, but he's Muslim now. I think he gave Shahada. He gave Shahada, yes.
Can I, because my phone was there, can I just get my phone to Google as well?
What's happening?
It's Ezekiel 16, but let me check. I think Ezekiel 16. Okay, Ezekiel 16,
Yeah.
6. But maybe we should try from 5. We should start from 5. Ezekiel 16, 5.
Ezekiel 65.
Sorry, start from 4. 4, yeah, 4 is better, yeah.
I almost fell over.
Okay.
Ezekiel 16, 4.
Yeah.
You want to read it?
Yeah. So on the day you were born, your coat was not cut, nor were you washed with water to make you clean, nor were you rubbed with salt or wrapped in clothes. Shall I continue?
Yeah. Continue.
No one looked on you with pity or had compassion enough to do any of these things. For you rather you were thrown out into the open field. For one day your born were despised.
Continue, I will tell you what.
Then I passed by and saw you kicking about in your blood, and you lay there in your blood, and I said to you, live. I made you grow like a plant of field. You grew and developed, entered puberty. Your breast had formed and your hair had grown, yet you were stark naked. Later I passed by, and when I looked at you, sorry, it's just advertisement, I saw you that you were old enough for love. I spread the corner on my garment over you and covered your naked body. I gave you my solemn oath, and I entered into the covenant with you, declares the sovereign Lord, and you became mine.
Okay. So you did the subscription, right?
Yeah.
First, there was a child, like a 1 year old.
Yeah, that's like a...
Yeah, and God, that's like someone that's 1 year old. Then later on, God said he took care of the baby, left, came back, he saw the baby grow, to reach puberty at that time, growing breast, and God said, okay, you're still young. And he left and came back again third time. The third time is when God said, now you are ripe. And God married. Then God married.
Sorry.
No, we're just having
Speaker's corner.
Sorry, what?
Speaker's corner. It's
People are just
debating.
talking, debate.
Debate.
Yeah. They talk about different things.
So today was the topic.
There's no topic. People just talk about different things. Different things.
Religion, politics.
They talk about their dog,
Doesn't
with their
happen
cat.
Every Sunday.
Every Sunday there is a topic.
So, you see,
Yeah.
then the third time is when God now entered covenant and married.
Yeah.
At that time, even though the second time, there's breast
Yeah.
and everything. So there's no way, as you can see,
Yeah.
you can say, if you read this,
Yeah.
that if you want to enter covenant with someone, and you want to follow Bible, you're going to see someone that is maybe 12 years old, growing breast, the next thing you marry. If we have to be honest, and if I'm reading this, because we don't have like age, but if someone wants to marry, say, oh, what did the Bible say? Well, the Bible didn't say anything, but if you read Ezekiel, when God entered covenant, marriage covenant with someone in the Bible, this is the description.
Yeah,
so
of a woman.
Do you get it? For a woman. That's what we're going to follow.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So there's no 6 years old here, 7 years old here.
Yeah, but you won't find that anywhere in any scripture.
But the thing is this, with what Allah said, do you get it? That you can marry as young as whatever, even they're young, the reason why they haven't started their menstruation is because they are too young. It gives you room to say you can marry 6-year-old, 7-year-old. And with the fact that Muhammad marries Aisha at 6, whether she entered puberty or not, it doesn't really matter to me. She's 9 years old when they did it, whatever they did. 9 years old is still young. But the thing is, people try to say 9-year-old then is different from 9-year-old. It's a lie, it's a pure lie. And the reason why it's a pure lie is, we can tell by their deeds. Someone that's 14 years old, Muhammad wouldn't allow him to go to war. There's a hadith that said, the same guy was talking to Umar, and Umar said, oh, this is the age that you enter puberty. But people said, oh, you can't really take that. Some Muslims say it. But what I'm trying to say is, everybody knows what a child is. During the time of Muhammad, during the time of Jesus Christ, everybody knows. Culturally, they don't care. But we're not talking about culture, we're talking about religion, we're talking about God. So,
but I mean, you see, this is what I'm just saying. So when things happen in culture sometimes, they are derivatives of the law, right? Sometimes they're not, sometimes they're. And I think you're right in saying that we should focus on what is from the law.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. What Allah says is what everybody should follow. And that's the honest truth. And the reason why we don't follow is because we know it's not good for us. Especially, that's why Muslims, they are listening to the country that they call Kufar, Western world. They are pressuring them to change. Do you get it? Why are they changing? If you can change the law of God, then why am I following it? If people can pressure you, people that you call Kufar, they are pressuring you to change your law. That's not good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to follow. The thing is this here. It would have been better Muslim drinking alcohol rather than changing the law of this thing, standing on their ground. Because at the end of the day, in future, this is the thing. In future, people will change the law of law in Islam. They will pressure people to change the law of law. So why should I follow a religion that people can change the law of God?
Yeah.
That's not right.
Well, but okay. So if you go back to the verse, because the verse that you're talking about is in Surah Al-Talaq. Surah 65.
65.
And then it starts from 1 to 7. And it's very extensive. It's a very extensive commentary.
Are we going to the commentary or the actual?
You can go to the thing. I have the commentary here.
Okay.
And 65. The way they interpret the verse.
So which one? Shall I start from 1?
Yeah. So start from 1. You go down. Yep, there it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Or prophet. Do you want to read or shall I read?
Read it, please.
Okay. Or prophet, when you divorce women, divorce them for their waiting period, and compute the waiting period accurately, and hold Allah and your Lord in awe. Do not turn them out of their homes, nor should they go away, unless they have committed a manifest evil deeds. Such are the bounds set by Allah. And he who transgress bounds set by Allah commits a wrong against himself. You do not know, maybe Allah will cause something happen to pave a way for reconciliation. And when they reach the term...
Okay, hold on. I need to move to the second one.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay,
Quran.com is the best for this.
Yeah.
That's better, yeah. But yeah, let's do this.
When they reach there.
Yeah, sorry. So I stopped there. You do not know, maybe Allah will cause something happen to pave their way. And when they reach the end of the term, waiting period, then either honorably retain them in bond of a wedlock, or honorably part with them. This is clear law. This is a law. This is instructions. Yeah. And call 2 persons of known probity as witness from among yourself, and let each witness give upright testimony for the sake of Allah. That is to what all those who believe in Allah in the last day are exalted. Allah will find a way for him who fears Allah, and he will provide him sustenance from whence he never even imagined. SubhanAllah. Whoever puts his trust in Allah, he shows to fear him sorely. And Allah brings about what he decrees. Allah has set measures of everything. The waiting period of those women who have lost all expectation of menstruation shall be 3 months.
Yes.
In case you entertain any doubt, and same shall apply for those who have not yet menstruated. As for the pregnant woman, and the waiting period shall be until the delivery of their burden. Yeah?
Yeah.
So I think we can stop there, because obviously, because that's what you're after, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. So what do you when you read this, what's your sort of like understanding of this?
My understanding is you can marry anyone, any age.
Yeah.
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
Whether you keep their dowry for them or not, it doesn't really mean anything to me.
Yeah.
So far you can marry and do whatever with them, like sleep with them. That's the only problem I have. If you marry someone at 6 and you don't touch them till like 20 years old, I can understand. Okay, 30 years old, I can understand. Whatever age that they reach puberty and all that, they're grown. That's fine. I can say it's cultural thing. Yeah, why not? So far you're not. To me, if you're sleeping with someone that is young, that's abuse.
Yeah.
And forget about the abuse. Why would God say that? Human being can make mistake. God doesn't make mistake.
Yeah.
Why would God allow this? That's the thing.
Yeah.
If it's from God, and we know that from God that we Christians, that we say this is the God, that Yahweh, He already warned us that if He touch any of this child, it's better for you to commit suicide. That's how bad it is for you to touch a child in Christianity, to do something bad. It's better for you to commit suicide than to hurt a child. Do you get it? Mm-hmm. So if we have that understanding, and Muhammad is not telling us we can sleep with a child, how are we going to listen to Muhammad?
Yeah. Okay. So I think what was very interesting, and I've listened to what you're saying, and I've listened about your concerns as well, that obviously if this is from God, like if God is telling us to sleep with children or babies and infants, that's crazy, right? But I don't believe that's what the Quran is saying.
Okay.
And I deliberately started reading from verse 1. If you go back to verse 1, you'll see
it's talking about divorce. You know, when you started, it's talking about when you divorce.
Yeah.
In order for you to divorce someone, you'll have married them first.
Yeah, of course.
So,
okay. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter whether by the time you're divorcing them, if they're mentors, whatever, if they're not grown, but you already married that person.
Yeah. So it starts off with the idea, it quotes woman.
Yes.
Right? It says woman at the beginning, like the very beginning of the verse.
Yeah.
At the very beginning of the verse, it says woman.
Yeah.
And then throughout the verse, the word woman keeps appearing.
Keeps appearing, yeah.
Until there's a differentiation that's been made about the types of women,
Exactly.
the widow, and and then the young woman, or the young girl. So here I will read something to you, and it gives an explanation to that. And I thought about this. So here, the meaning of they may not have menstruated as yet, either because of young age, or delayed menstrual discharge, as it happens in the case of some women, right? Or because of no discharge at all throughout their life, right?
That's like disease or something.
Though rare, may also be the case. In any case, the waiting period of such woman is the same as the woman who has stopped menstruating. So
you mentioned one thing. The only thing that I cared about, either because they are too young. There's a category, too young category. That's the category I'm talking about. There's a lot of people that fit in that category. And that's the reason why they even asked Ibn Abbas in the Tashbih. He said, because they are too young to menstruate. Do you get it? So if someone is too young to menstruate, we know that category.
Okay.
Do you get it?
But
that means they're too young.
No, fair enough. But we do know, and this is again here too technical, but basically the way menstruation happens, it's not a given that menstruation happens for every single person at the same time. And I think it's talking about that more than infancy. I don't think it's talking about infants like babies that just came fresh out the womb.
I don't think so. I wouldn't think so.
Nor do I think it's talking here about like 3-year-old people, children who don't have tooth in their mouth. I think it's in context of everything. I think it's quite self-evident that it's talking about young girls, whatever young was constituted back then.
Yeah, exactly.
And then from there they kind of worked their way up.
So if we have to now go by what we know, not what we don't know. A date says Aisha was 6 when she got married to Muhammad. He consummated the marriage
at 9.
So if you have to go by that, then it was okay to marry someone at 6 and sleep with them when they are 9. Let's give it 9. It was okay back then. So if we say, let's say, okay, 9 is the age of child. They don't consider 9 as child at that time. But what I'm trying to say, 9 of 7th century and 9 of this time, they are not ready for sex, whether then or not.
Okay, and then I will ask you to substantiate that.
Okay. How? This is not what I said. Going by what we know. Right? And a date. Because biologically, we know in Bible, every time they talk about a child, every time they talk about someone like, okay, for example, let me give you an example. I was going to say this when you mentioned Mary was 12 years old. When there was a story in the Bible, Jesus Christ was supposed to follow his mom and his dad back home, but he stayed at the temple. He was preaching for 3 days. They were looking for him. He was 10 years, I think he was 10 years old then. So his mom went back to look for him and said, don't do this to us again. We're worried. A 10-year-old, like 700 years before Muhammad, they were worried about a 10-year-old. Do you get it? So if his mom was, because they said his mom was 12, so his mom would have been 22 at that time.
No, thank you.
So if his mom was 12 when he had him, a 12-year-old cannot be...
Sorry, you kind of interrupted me. Can you repeat again?
What I'm saying is, they said, you said something about Mary being 12.
Yes, some scholars.
Some scholars said that. So what I'm saying is, if at the time that Jesus Christ was at the temple, that they were looking for him, they said it was 10. So if his mom was 12 when he had him, that means a 12-year-old should know that 10-year-old is not a young person. If someone was pregnant at 12, and you saw a boy that is 10 years old, a 10-year-old is not a small boy, let him go. Because when his mom saw him, his mom said, oh, we're worried about you. You can't be worried about someone that's 10. If people are getting pregnant at 12, at that time, 10-year-old should
Why? Why not?
Because 10-year-old and 12-year-old, what's the difference?
No, but I mean...
If you can be mother at 12 and it's fine, a 10-year-old should be...
If he was 10 years old, then the mother was 22.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, at the time that she was pregnant, they said she was 12. Which they believe is normal. So if 12-year-old is normal for 12-year-old to be pregnant at that time, that means she's old enough. A 10-year-old should be, a boy and a girl, what's the difference? A 10-year-old should be old enough to stay behind as well. His mother shouldn't be scared. Oh, we're looking for you and all that.
It depends. We don't know their personality.
There's another story. Before I go to Hadith and Quran, there's another story in the Bible. A child that is 12 years old that was sick, and Jesus Christ prayed for him. They said she's 12 years old. Do you get it? So we know what a child is. And like I said, in the Ezekiel that I read to you, when God was describing the marriage, we know that, okay, before God entered marriage, this thing had to happen. Do you get it? And this was written, Ezekiel was written like maybe 1,000 years before Muhammad.
But this is just basically describing. It's describing a cycle from when I was reading.
Yes, a cycle. But a cycle, in order for someone to reach that cycle, 6-year-old cannot reach that cycle that we read.
But think
a 9-year-old cannot reach that cycle.
Think about this as well. This is another thing we need to think about. You know, child mortality. 1,000 years ago, it was 60%. It was very high. So this I'm trying to say. The way we understand children today is totally different. If you had 5 children. There was a chance that now, if you had 5 children, there was a chance that 3 of them would die even before they reach adulthood. So because of that, the way people dealt, I'm kind of still.
You can use mine if you want to use it. No, you can use mine if you need to check something.
I'm in the middle. So this is another thing that we need to figure out that. Jabs, bring the camera. I'm sorry, I used to bring the camera, this is the thing of football. You know the way people used to have children? Like.
Give me 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Muhammad just wants to make one statement.
Okay.
I'm going to bring it.
Like, people used to live much more shorter lives.
One second, let me see if this thing is still. Yeah, it's going up,
So people used to live much shorter lives.
Yes.
So what are we talking about here?
No, but the thing is this here. Cultural thing is different from God.
No, I'm saying biologically speaking.
No, biologically speaking.
People used to live shorter.
No, before they used to live longer.
No,
in the times of Moses, Abraham, and all those
things. I'm saying.
But later on, I get it.
People lived much shorter.
But what I'm saying is this: at the time of there's a date that when they thought Aisha was cheating on Muhammad, and do you know the reason why she gave that they left her behind?
Yeah.
She said the people that took her caravan, they thought she was inside the caravan, and she said the reason why they thought she was inside the caravan is because she was too light.
Yeah.
That she was too small. So they thought. So that's how small she was in that time. Do you get it? Yeah? And there's another hadith that she said, I think it was the same hadith. Aisha said, before there was a time that she mentioned that people don't used to have weight. People used to be very small. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So the thing is, in those days, it's not that they used to have a big body or something. Do you get it? And like I said, if Muhammad cannot allow someone that's 14 years old, so biologically speaking, 14-year-old, trust me, 14-year-old can fight war this time. In this day and age, if you see a 14-year-old now, the way they look, they can go to war now.
But this is what I'm saying. We cannot look at an isolated incident that is specific with one boy, because maybe there's other reasons why the Prophet was telling him in particular not to fight, because there are instances where there was young boys in war with the Prophet.
There's only one guy. The one that they said he knows how to shoot, what's his name? Is he arrow or something? There's only one guy that said he was 15 years old. They said he's the only one that Muhammad allowed to. Probably, but that's the only one that I saw. But the thing is this here, forget about us human beings. I'm talking about God. Because the law is forever.
The law is forever, but the law still interacts with human beings.
Yes.
And the law is always going to be in accordance with what human beings can achieve. So, for example, what I was trying to say is, God is never going to ask you to put a needle into the eye of a camel or something. You know that's saying.
I get it.
It will never. God's not going to ask you to do that, because then you can turn around and say, God, you asked me to construct or to do something that I was incapable of doing. So the law of God, yes, it's final, and the law of God is the one thing that we orientate.
Yes.
But the law of God, if you know anything about jurisprudence, is that it's a guiding principle, and the idea is to get to the guiding principle as close as possible. But all the factors in the society that you live in will be considered. So I'm saying to you is this: it is true that there is I claim and I believe that certain people used to live a bit longer.
Yeah.
But it depends, where do you go?
Yeah.
You go all the way to Noah and
Yeah.
April, yeah. But generally speaking, if you look at in generality, you know, in how human beings have existed, there was loads and loads of hardships with the way we would develop as human beings,
Yeah.
you know? And now, again, people are kind of living a bit longer to previous generations. So, if people used to, for example, die at the age of 50, that's the average age, right? And I'm not talking about people of God here.
Like in general.
Yeah, because there's a wisdom in why someone like Abraham is going to live for 100 years or 120 years. There's wisdom.
Yeah.
Because the longer he lives, the longer he can
achieve all the
teach
things that,
and achieve all the things that he
yeah,
wants to
yeah.
do. It doesn't mean that everyone around him will
Have
live
to
in
live
300
yeah.
years old, right?
Yeah.
Now, if the average age was 50,
Yeah.
some even, I've said some studies I used to read, it's 40, in particular periods in human history. By the time they reach 15, by the time they reach 9, they've already lived a long life.
Yeah.
So this is one thing we have to consider when we speak of these things. I'm going to read something to you.
Quickly read it so that I can
Yeah,
respond
and this is
to
why
it.
this is so important to contextualize everything, because it's all good and fine to look at, oh, this is the law of God, but how does the law of God manifest in the actual world? Let me read this to you, yeah? So this is something that, if you read about the history of childhood throughout all the ages, this is how they used to, classify children in modern England, which means this is the 1600s, 1500s.
That's not God.
No.
What God says.
No.
Not what people say.
No, but I'm saying to you,
Yeah.
God has left this open.
No.
He has left this open
No,
because even
because before people used to marry their cousins.
yeah.
Do you know that there's a lot of things that people used to do in the Old
Yeah,
Testament?
but what's wrong? What's wrong with one
In the Old Testament,
Yeah.
and God stopped people from doing it. You cannot marry this, you cannot do this, you cannot
Yeah,
do that. But
yeah.
people used to do it.
Yeah, but
and God said stop it. First cousins. People used to marry first cousins.
Doesn't the Bible say you're not allowed to do that?
Yeah, they
Where?
stopped in Moses. When God was talking to Moses,
Yeah.
the people that you cannot marry this family member, you cannot marry this family member.
Yeah, I know about
But
that.
they used to do it because it was their.
But even first cousin.
It was a cultural thing. I think it's first cousin. I don't know. But if I read it,
Because Jews married a
but what I'm trying to say is this: probably I get it wrong, but there's something that they used to do,
Yeah,
and God said you cannot do it anymore. It's
Yeah.
culturally right for
yeah,
them.
yeah.
But when it comes to
But
God,
I understand.
different.
But you will never find a verse anywhere in the Bible that says you're not allowed to marry children. You will not find that.
children.
Yeah.
Okay, this is
Yeah.
not that. There's nowhere they say you cannot marry children, like I said.
That's what I'm trying to
Okay,
say.
good. This is not the thing, but the
So it's
Bible says,
open.
but Bible now says something. You're not allowed to hurt a child, right?
Yeah.
So that's one. Secondly, that's what that's.
But
supposed to
how
be-
does the Bible define child?
No, hold on. I get what you're saying. It defends
Yeah,
it there.
yeah.
Because we said 12 years old. They consider 12 years old as a child. They
Why?
consider 10-year-old as a child in the Bible.
Why? Where was that? When did we read this? In Ezekiel?
No, not Ezekiel. I'll show you the Bible verse. I'll show you where before Jesus Christ a child, he was 10. And when they said the girl, she was 12 years old.
I'm going to read it as well.
Yeah. Okay, so let's, even in Leviticus, when God was talking to Moses about what I said, when God is saying they want to give offering, if you go to Leviticus 27, from 1 to 7. Yeah, let's go to Leviticus first, 1 to 7. Oh, sorry, 27, 1 to 7.
Okay. So you said Leviticus?
27.
Leviticus 27, yeah?
Yeah, 1 to 7. So that you can have it.
Okay. Shall I read it?
Yeah,
or?
yeah.
Okay. Rewards of obedience. Do not make idols or set up image.
Where are you?
Oh, you said
27,
27.
27.
Sorry. Apologies, viewers. Okay, yeah. Okay. The Lord said to Moses, speak to the Israelites and say to them, if anyone of makes a special role to dedicate a person to the Lord by giving equivalent of value. Set the value of a male between the ages of 20 and 26 and 60 at 50 shekels, or silver according to the sanctuary shekel. For a female, set her value at 30 shekels. For a person between the ages of 5 and 20, set the value of a male at 20 shekels, and of a female at 10 shekels. For a person between 1 month and 5 years, set the value of male at 5 shekels of silver.
See the differences?
Yeah, and female, yeah.
So this is over 1,000 years ago. So God knows, see the difference between
Yeah.
1 and 5,
Yeah.
5 and 20,
Yeah.
20 and 60.
Yeah, but this is to do with redeeming.
Redeeming, yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is this, yeah, yeah, you can. Yeah. But we're talking about 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So in this category now, in 2023, we can still relate to that. 1 to 5, 5 to 20, 20 to 60.
Yeah.
And this was written years ago.
Yeah, but how?
So
just
if
out
you
of
get-
interest, but
yeah.
how? What has that to do with? I know, I
Okay,
understand that you're trying to make the point of like they're talking about ages and they're classifying
They
ages.
classify, yeah. So what I'm trying to say is this: yeah. If then they classify like 3 groups, 1 to 5, 5 to 20. In this day and age, we know that even someone that's 20 years old here in this country probably they consider them grown, but we still know they're young. 20, and even 2023, we still know.
Yeah.
Back then, over 1,000 years ago, they know as well. So there's not much difference. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So there's no way they will say, oh, 7th century, then something like all of a sudden everything just changed. If it didn't change during the time of Moses,
Yeah.
now in 2023 it didn't change. Who's lying there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we have to be consistent. This was written before Quran. If
Yeah.
it wasn't written before Quran, I can say the lie. But it was even written before Quran. And it still makes sense to today that when we see 1 year to 5 years old, we know they are very small. We see 5 to 20, we know.
Yeah.
20 to 60.
Yeah.
It makes sense then. It makes sense now. So we don't really need to see the actual physical thing to say, oh,
Yeah.
then, but we can try to say, oh, with the evidence that we have, we can deduce
I think
that.
it would be very. I love the way you're very analytical and you know I ask Allah for you to continue to you know grow and hopefully that leads you to the truth. For whatever the God of the universe, the truth is, you shall find it. I was very interested in the idea of child because you said child Bible. Now I found something here very interesting, and I was suspicious of this because the way we define child differs. Let me read this. There's Eaton's Bible Dictionary. It says, and under child it says, this word has considerable latitude, meaning that it's quite wide, you can use it, of the meaning in Scripture. Thus, Joseph is called a child at the time when he was probably about 16 years. Yeah? And in Genesis, Benjamin is also called when he was about 30 years. You see? So, Solomon called himself little child when he came to the kingdom. Yeah? So this is not talking about child as in the child of the Lord. This is specifically to term
call it someone a
child.
child,
Yeah? The descendant of a man, however remote, are called his children. Now this is a different definition, right? The children of Edom, the children of Israelites, right? That's another way. In the earliest times, mothers did not wean their children till they were 13 months to 3 years old. And the day on which they were weaned was kept at the festival. And this you find this in Genesis, Exodus talks about Moses instructed them. At the age of 5, children began to learn arts, duties of life under the care of their fathers. To have numerous family was regarded as a mark of divine favor, right? So clearly here we can see that the way child is defined varies. And I personally have no problems with that because I understand that this very thing, child, is not always tied in to biology. The time it starts to tie in with biology is in the modern time. Now what we tend to do, people of Scripture, we look back into Scripture with the mind of modern people. And this is what I wanted to read to you, yeah, before you come back, yeah? This is what I wanted to read to you. Very interesting, yeah? So childhood in early modern England. Okay, this is like the 1500s and onwards. This is why this is so important. So throughout the course of the early modern period, child was split into multiplied sections. Adolescence, working and familial jobs, education and sexual relation and marriage. Right? Down. You fast forward, it goes in. Adolescence was a short-lived period. in a child's life. Many historians debate this quick transition into adulthood. So this idea like you're a baby infant and then you're a child for a long time and then you become, it didn't exist. Even in the times, I've shown you this.
You're right.
I've shown you this here, and this is in Deuteronomy. Yeah, it talks about Deuteronomy here. It says in Deuteronomy, let me find this quickly. Sorry. Apologies.
It's okay. Sorry.
Yeah. So the fathers. Okay. Children, kingdom, descendants of man, however, Edom,
How do you know? Are you listening to us?
the descendants of. Oh yeah.
You have your brother to come.
Yeah. At the age of 5, children began to learn arts and duties of life under the care of the fathers.
Is that Deuteronomy? Deuteronomy what?
6:20 to 25.
Okay.
In the future, when your son asks you what is the meaning of the stipulation, decrees, and laws of law God has commanded you, tell him we were slaves to Pharaoh, Egypt, of the Lord. Before our eyes, Lord sent signs, one this great, terrible Egypt. But he brought us from there, bring us to the land. The Lord commanded us to obey all the decrees so that we might also prosper. So, and we are careful to obey this law. So here, a young child, you're already teaching them very heavy subjects.
But, Dawood, this is where you're missing the point.
Yeah.
When we say children, we're using that word, children,
Yeah.
Okay. So I will not use children. I will use too young.
Yeah, but what is too young?
Exactly.
What's too
that's
young?
what I said. When I said too young, and I put it in a category,
Yeah.
it wasn't me that said it.
Yeah.
Ibn Abbas said too young because they didn't have the menstruation because they are too young. Hold on. Ibn Abbas knows one thing. He knows that, okay, there's certain people that they cannot have menstruation because of their age.
Yeah.
That's why he used that because they are too young.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
Because people trying to say, okay, these people, this category is wide.
Yeah.
And he's trying to clarify that this one is talking about people that are too young. Every other person, you can marry them. So maybe, like I said, in those days, people used to marry younger girls, like Aisha, whatever. Then people want to know, because that's culture. That's not law before. It wasn't a law. It was just a cultural something. Then now that Allah now gives the law, they want to understand the law. Are we allowed to do this? They say yes, even the one that are too young to menstruate. They are the one. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So when we now say too young has to be from 1.
But you're defining it.
No, I'm not defining it.
Of
He
course,
said too young. What I'm saying,
but Ibn As didn't say for
he
1.
didn't say from 1.
Yeah.
Okay, what I'm saying, he said too young.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, in order for you to be too young,
Yeah.
it has to be from the day you were born.
No, but that's you defining it, respectfully.
So if someone is not too young, you cannot, until you're born to this earth, we cannot start counting your days. It has to be the day that you're born.
No. If people say in America,
you cannot marry someone that's
in
the womb.
No, but in someone in America, in certain states, people are too young to get into clubs. Meaning, before the age of 21, they can't get to clubs.
No. See.
Too young.
No, Dawood, you keep talking about law of America government. We're talking about law of God.
No, but I'm talking about a principle.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the
God's
law
principle
itself.
is different from our principle.
No, but the principle of God still.
Because God knows better than us. Do you get it?
But I'm not arguing that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying to you is, I'm talking about a principle.
Yes.
I'm saying, if there's a law, even including the law of God,
Yes.
it has to be passed down to human beings.
Yes.
And human beings have to execute that law in a humanly possible way.
Yes.
This is what I'm
But
saying.
God will not give us something that is not possible for us
Of
to do.
course,
Exactly.
of course.
So that's where the mistake is.
No, so from that point of view,
Yeah.
I can see clearly now the fact that you're given age, you're saying...
I didn't give age.
No, you're saying 1.
No, I said if we have to start from too young.
Too young is very broad. In the English language, too young means it could mean many
It
things.
could mean many things,
Yeah.
which I understand and I agree with it.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying let's try and put who can fit too young.
Yeah.
Can 50-year-old fit too young?
No.
Can 1-year-old fit too young?
Yeah, no.
1-year-old.
No.
Too young.
Because 1-year-old is not... Because a 1-year-old...
Yes.
How can you even marry a 1-year-old? Because there's
That means 1 year is too young then.
No. I'm saying 1 year is not even considered.
But it's too young, right?
No.
Isn't it?
It's not considered.
No, don't say it's not considered.
No,
I'm
because
asking-
too young means there is a consideration. Because if he's saying to you,
Too young to do what? We didn't say
no, but
anything.
it speaks too young specifically about
About marriage.
menstruation.
About menstruation. Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Okay.
So too young here, meaning they have to be even in consideration. We know that in the Quran,
Is 1 year or too young to menstruate or not?
Huh?
Is 1 year or too young to menstruate or not?
they're not within that category.
But are they too young to menstruate?
No, but they have to be in the category where
there's,
there is
but there's some
possibility.
5, 6 years old that menstruate, yes or no?
5 years old, I don't know.
6 years old, yeah.
6 years old, yeah.
6
I know.
years old.
I've heard 6
Yeah,
years, 7.
is 6 years old too young to menstruate or not? Any 6 years old that menstruates is not really normal. You know, right? Biologically, it's not really something that is normal than 6 years old.
Let me check that. I don't know.
6 year old, a lot of, it's only few 6 year old that, not, I wouldn't say few, maybe because the population, there's a lot probably, but normally 6 is a big young to menstruate.
Again, I think we're talking about this topic and we don't know, we men, so.
No, because the thing is this, they said if you're too young to menstruate, that means you don't have to menstruate.
They say most girls get it by the age of 10.
Do you get what I'm saying? So 6 is too young normally, So when it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It does happen. But when we're talking about something that is not normal, it's not really normal for it to happen that way. So they know these things, and that's when they say too young. If 6 year olds start menstruating today, even 2 year olds start menstruating today, they're not going to kill that baby. They will just say, something is wrong. Do you get it? But we'll say it's too young.
Yeah. Well, it depends because, for example, I remember reading this article. It's talking about how the age of menstruation has actually gone up now.
Yeah.
So you see, it changes with the environment that we're in, right? The article was talking about like how some experts say that puberty starts with 5 years old for some people.
Probably is okay. What you just said now even helped my argument. It's longer now. That's what you're saying.
No, it's gone up.
It's gone up now.
Yeah.
Okay, so before they used to get it younger, earlier.
Yeah.
So imagine, let's say 10. They said probably 10 now. That's what they said. So imagine then,
12.
like 12 now.
Yeah.
So imagine back then, 700 years ago, they used to get it at 7.
Yeah.
So imagine people that don't get it. That means they are lesser than 7 then.
Again, I can't. No. I mean,
I'm not saying it's gonna. I'm not saying
I mean,
what
it's
you're
a logical conclusion that you're making.
No, because you said, people said now it's longer. So let's say shorter then, they used to get it as early as 7.
No, yeah.
So if they used to get it as early as 7 then, that means the one that are too young, they will consider too young then. Because if it's something that is normal that people are getting at 7, then that means people are 5 years old, 4 years old, they don't get it then. That means that's the people they're talking about, they're too young.
I don't know. I'm not really convinced
We're not,
by that.
yeah. But I'm just saying
not,
if we have to go with what you said, that's what I'm saying. If you have to go with that. We're not sure. We're not sure because
it's very. Again,
but if you have to go with that, that's what it will mean.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say. We're commenting on something that kind of.
So
you need a bit more research on that.
This is the only thing I'm trying to point out here is this. Say, for example, what you said is true. The law is for us
because remember
to interpret with whatever that's happening today.
Yeah.
Okay. See, this is not the thing. Yeah. So that law says the reason why you're saying is because we shouldn't do something that's going to affect us. So now that we know that sleeping with a child, we should interpret that law as don't marry someone at 6, as young as 6, don't sleep with them. We should interpret it that way, right? Mm-hmm. So that means. Okay. But let me now tell you this. Yeah. Do you know what will happen in future if we have to do this? There's a lot of law that's going to change in Quran. For example, what was the reason why people stopped drinking alcohol in Islam?
Why the reason why?
Yeah, they used to drink it. Yeah. People used to go to mosque and pray.
Because Allah says there's more harm than there's benefits in it.
Okay, now. But now, in this day and age, because then they said, people start drinking and they will go and pray, they will forget. Yeah. So if I can control my alcohol, if people say, okay, you can control alcohol, can we drink alcohol now? Can we change the law? So far we can control it.
But you see, that thing is a bit more concrete.
Why?
Because it specifically talks about, no one can get confused.
I get it.
It's very concrete. It says, don't consume.
Because of a reason.
Yeah, and it's concrete. It's more concrete.
But if you can take the reason out of it, can we drink it? Because now the reason why people don't want to sleep with a child now, they are saying is because it's not good. They are taking it. But which I believe that back then it's not good either.
But I think it's just things like, this is what I say. I think sometimes when I have this conversation with people, I understand the concern, but then I'm like, I think we're losing so much nuance here. And this is even like, this goes even to the brothers who kind of like defend this idea of like that Aisha was married at 6 years old.
It's the truth, because that's the only thing that is there out there. if you have
No, it's
something
not the only
different,
thing that's out there.
that she's what? That she's 6 when she was 6 and 9.
No, but I mean, there's other ideas out there
I did,
amongst the
I'm
Muslims.
talking about the evidence. The
Evidence.
evidence that we have is 6 and 9.
No, but there's other evidences that say that she was older as well.
But all those evidence are not something that Muslims accept.
No, but you see, when you say Muslims,
Yeah.
you're talking about
Sunni Muslim,
a
you're
lot-
Sunni.
Yeah, but
Sorry.
you're talking about a lot of
But
people.
Sunni Muslim.
Yeah. And
The evidence that you people
Yeah.
use Sunni accept is
the thing is, I don't want to be looking like I'm being put on the back foot as if I'm trying to like
get away from
the idea that
No,
she
no,
was
no.
6 years old.
Yeah.
I am trying to talk about this in the most nuanced way possible. I'm trying to consider the idea of childhood. I've demonstrated that in the Bible, the way child is described varies. And it varies according to the context.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're a child when you're 30, sometimes you're a child when you're 15.
That's why I changed it to too
Yeah.
young. That's
Yeah.
why I changed it to too young.
Okay, but
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say. But fundamentally, we're talking here about the idea of childhood. This is what
No,
we're talking about.
no. We're talking about someone that is too young
No, but
to
we-
menstruate.
No, but we're talking
In the
about,
context.
you know, let me tell you why we're talking about the idea of childhood.
Yeah.
Because when you brought the verse in, was it, what, it was a beautiful verse
60. Which one is that?
about the transformation.
Ezekiel.
Ezekiel.
Yeah.
When you brought up Ezekiel,
Yeah.
you were bringing this up because you were saying, look, here the Bible is detailing the process
Yes.
from being suckled
Yeah.
to having
Growing breasts. Yeah, exactly.
and finding love, right?
Yeah.
So this is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking here fundamentally about that. The idea of like, how do human beings
Grow.
perceive and grow? What is the cycle?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say to you is that because of that, it's very tricky to then start to define certain things, because even when you say too young, look, if I read this again, it says, look, the verse in the Quran
Yeah.
about menstruation, it says, what does that mean? They may have not menstruated. It's not just one word that they're using.
Yes,
they use
I get it.
The
I get
sentences,
it.
many
So,
sentences.
Different reasons.
Yeah.
It could be because
Yeah.
they are sick.
Yeah.
But forget about those ones. The only one I'm concentrating about is the one that are too young. But
Okay.
that category,
Yeah.
that's the one I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
But I would say I would connect the too young
Yeah.
to delayed menstruation.
No, you can't say delay.
Yeah, delayed. I think it's together in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm still talking
That's-
about.
that's
I'm
my
not-
interpretation
yeah,
of it.
but I'm still talking about the one that are too young, which, like we said, 5-year-old is too young to menstruate.
Yeah.
If you ask any doctor today, they will say 5-year-old is too young to menstruate. You get it? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And when Quran says something like this, that's like an open book for you.
But when you say 5 year is too young to menstruate today,
Yeah.
you see, it's very slippery.
Yeah.
I've just told you, and I can
Back in the day.
I can try to find the article about.
Yeah, but what you said, if you analyze it, if you try to use it, it helps my argument. Like I said, too young is still. See, okay, don't forget something.
Yeah.
Remember, I showed you something in the Bible, in Leviticus.
Yeah.
That's like 1,000 years before Muhammad. When God was describing 1 to 5, so the understanding is already there. We know 1 to 5 is, even if we don't have the details. But we know what 1 to 5. The reason why God is talking about 1 to 5, 5 to 20, 20 to 60.
Yeah.
And if say if we have to apply that thing to now, it still makes sense to us. To today. If say okay, for example, if you're traveling, you don't pay the same thing for your child. If you have a 3-year-old, maybe it's free. If it's 16, maybe you pay fair. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So see, the same thing that God was doing, that if you're going to pay offering for this one, pay this less amount for this 1 to 5, pay this for this. The same thing, we're still using it today. Do you get it? So
Yeah.
it makes sense. So
But-
we should not try and say, oh,
No, but you see, when you say too young as well, yeah? And remember what I was saying about the verse, the entire verse. That's why we read the entire verse. The beginning of the verse, at the beginning, it says woman, and Nisa. And when you define a Nisa, the idea of infancy, the idea of like, for the lack of a better term, because child is kind of tricky, but the lack of the term, all of these things are divorced. That's what I was saying to you. When they say too young, it has to be within the consideration. Now, the way woman and Nisa are defined, I think this is where the conversation should go.
Yeah.
How do you define a woman?
Okay.
How do you define a young woman? How do you find a woman that is too young to have menstruation?
Ibn Abbas already clarified that for us. Because they went to ask him. Do you know there's a reason why?
Can you look for that?
Okay, I've got the test here. That's the reason why that's the thing. He already clarified it. Because I'm sure those people, they want to. Okay, this is it. Hey, this is it. That's the first one.
Tanwer Nikumbas Abbas. Okay, I'm going to read it, yeah? That's cool.
Or should I go on the Quran that side? Then we read it from that.
I mean, yeah, you can read this as well.
This one is, because I have to be, I don't know. Can you read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And for such of your women as despair of menstruation because of old age, if doubt about the waiting period, the waiting period shall be 3 months. Upon which another man asked, O Messenger of Allah, what about the waiting period of those who do not have menstruation because they are too young? Along with those who have not because of young age, their waiting period is 3 months. Another man asked, what is the waiting period?
Do you hear what I said? He said because they are too young.
Yeah. But what does it mean? What does it mean?
Yeah, but he said if you are too young to menstruate, that's why I said because they are too young to menstruate. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So that's what he said. So if someone is too young to menstruate, this is the law. So forget about what anybody says. Allah give us permission to marry someone, have sex with someone that is too young to menstruate.